I've been away.
Retards.
It's amazing it's been touting everything like that. Every
We
single
were dead
time.
serious, and then we saw this countdown.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Hi,
Dexter.
everybody. How's it going? Been a couple of weeks, so we're back. We had a couple of distractions in our lives, and I apologize for the 1 week delay, but here we are.
Here
Hopefully,
we are.
everybody's doing well.
Here we are. We
Hi,
were getting
hi.
crushed. The truth of the matter is, everyone, we were getting crushed at work for the last week. So, we just couldn't find the time. And Ralph broke his toe. Ralph broke his toe. That's what. Well, I actually said what? He broke his. He calls me up and he said, "Do you want to?" I texted him and I said, "Do you want to do an episode today?" And Ralph goes, "No, I broke my toe."
And my tongue didn't work.
No, because you were in pain from your toe.
Oh boy,
Oh,
I know it. I know it. We discussed that briefly on the last one, and seriously, if anybody's ever stubbed their toe, you know how painful that can be. I don't care. Women say that giving birth is the most painful thing in the world. I am so sorry. A guy having a cold or stubbing his toe is much worse.
can't believe you. What? Yeah. Let me think about what would actually be worse. Giving birth, toothaches, really bad toothaches.
I've heard.
Ooh, that could be as bad as giving
It is.
birth.
It is. I heard this analogy. And maybe it applies, maybe it doesn't. But I have heard that giving birth, right, is a very painful thing, and yet
Of course.
women tend to have some more than one child, whereas a guy has never caught his ding dong in his zipper more than once.
Because that's a lesson learned, right? You might say, hey,
Is that what
that's
I
never
really
going to
wanted to
happen.
say? But I never caught my tallywhacker in my zipper more than once. That was enough.
that, that reminds me of that scene in the movie. There's something about Mary, which is a great movie, by the way. So politically incorrect, everyone. It's just really horrible in terms of political correctness. So if
Ah,
you're a
well,
politically correct person, don't watch this movie. But it's a younger Ben Stiller doing his thing.
yeah.
And there's this scene in there where when he's a young teenager, he gets his thing stuck in his
He gets
zipper.
his junk caught in the
And,
zipper.
and then he tells the girlfriend's father, if you watch the movie, please don't call the police. And the next thing you know, you see like the
Call the
police
police.
and the fire and EMS and everyone. And then the guy with a bullhorn telling everybody to back away.
Okay, people. See, this is why they don't let us out.
We need instruction. This is where we need instruction, man. This is where we need instruction.
Oh,
So
Lord.
on to our subjects, my friend. Do we have questions or no? We don't have any questions. No.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I apologize to everybody. I've not had much of a chance to review. Uh, one comment stood out. It was a compliment to us both. So the show. But no questions this week. Well, we'll double up next time around because we've both been busy. 5 minutes before I sat down to prep, I finished cutting my lawn. I've got a pretty decent sized lawn, so I'm tired. And in case you're wondering why I look worse than usual, there you go.
It's because I was cutting my lawn.
And you've been busy too. Do you want to share that or nah?
Yeah, no, I want to share that. I actually moved in with my girlfriend. So it's a very different feeling, right? And I've never in my life ever moved in to someone else's home. It was
Okay.
always my home that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
someone was in.
Yep.
So that's a different feeling, right? Because you have
Mm-hmm.
really not the same sense of control.
Right.
So it's interesting as to how and I keep peeking this way, and I'm sorry, everybody, because my dog is on the ledge, and she's looking out the window. I'm like, I hope she doesn't fall and break her neck, but it's not that high. It's not that high a drop. I'll catch her in the second bounce. But it's a very strange feeling. I don't have the luxury of time, and I also don't have the luxury of saying, you know what, I'll get to that, or this is what I want, or maybe I'll take care of that tomorrow. No, I'm right now. I'm like, you know what? I need to move on with my life. Kids are grown. Kids are graduating college. My son
Nice.
already graduated college. Sophia later on this year she'll be graduating. She's got her own place. He's gonna move out with his own place from his mom's. So things are moving forward. She's 59 and I'm 63, and again we've lived our lives. So we have our
Dude,
habits, our peccadillos.
you just mentioning her age, I'm gonna have to edit that because she's probably gonna kill you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. She doesn't listen to us anyway.
Alzheimer's. She'll
No,
never.
but she's no, but it's interesting. It's not the same perspective, man. It's just not. When you're, yeah, man. A lot of things going on, brother. A lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sounds
so
that way.
it does. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It does. I'm exhausted.
Being
I'm here
63
with a cup
doesn't
of
help.
coffee.
Something that keeps coming up, and I should let you know also that in the interim, I okay. Let's talk about AI because this is going to lead me to this point that I wanted to get to. AI, if you're not familiar with AI, artificial intelligence, and a lot of people are, it really is, it has changed the world. It's changed the way people, how they interact, how they live life. The, Google search is about dead because of, AI. A lot of people use Google, but now with Chat GPT, see and all of these others, the difference between Google and ChatGPT is Google just gives you just information, just like you ask it, what was the Yankee score last night, and it'll tell you. But with AI, it'll break down everything that you ask it. Did the dog jump?
No, 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 no. My camera moved when I hit it. I'm sorry.
So artificial intelligence has really revolutionized and it's changed the way people live for the better or for the worse. Now, there's a lot of concerns about AI because it's just progressing at a pace that is it's mind bending. It really is. To this AI thing is I created another podcast, and this one I call it Deep Dive. And what it is I literally just give it topics, and it does a podcast all by itself.
Oh wow.
It is nuts. It really is. And there's two voices, excuse me. So I'm assuming it's people, but it's not. It's just algorithms and programming and code.
Interacting with each other,
That's
right?
it, and it's just so realistic. And I'll send you one. And it's so easy to do. Like I'm doing one a day. It's just so simple. I literally just give it my topics. I'll find my topics, like for example, on a YouTube video, I'll link that the address to that video or that. Oh yeah, it's a video, and it does all the work for me. It truly is amazing. It really does sound like two people talking. And
You see that a lot. Like you see that sort of manipulation on TikTok a lot, right? Because like they
yes,
have like they'll have athletes, you
hmm
know, they'll have AI, where they sometimes they'll announce it's AI and sometimes they won't announce that it's AI on
yeah,
the
and you don't know what's what sometimes.
and you don't know it's what sometimes. But when you
Yeah,
hear the coaches like trashing their players as part of an AI, you
yeah,
know, broadcast, you know it's fake, right? But
right.
it's a lot of fun, and it I don't even. We've just scratched the surface when it comes to that because we're still in the Chat GPT smart home model. I know that the AI in and of itself, and then there's a telecom piece, right, where the one has to catch up with the other because
Yeah.
AI, and then you start thinking about the other side. I think about if you've ever been a fan of the Terminator series, right?
hmm
It's where AI, the story behind the Terminator is
Yes,
where
it is.
AI becomes self-aware, not to start
Right.
any sort of weird, like,
Yeah, no.
conspiracy theories, but that's the story of the Terminator.
Yes, it is.
Eventually, AI becomes self-aware
Yeah.
and then takes over. The machines take over, and then
Hmm.
they try to annihilate the human race.
Yeah. And
So,
you know what? Not for nothing, that is the big concern when it
yeah,
comes to trying to figure out
self-awareness.
what to do with AI. The concern is that it will become self aware. And I started watching a show just a couple days ago. I've watched the first episode. I think it's an Apple Plus. No, yeah, it might be an Apple Plus original. I even forget the name of it. It's basically it's a story of a group of researchers that are assigned basically a robot, and the robot becomes self-aware, and it's trying not to tip its hand that it's aware, and it keeps imagining in his mind, how do I kill all these people and survive because I still need them? So it's a comedy. It really is. It's a bizarre comedy. I'm gonna overlay the poster to, because I forget right now the name of the show, but it's a bizarre concept, but it is a good. Well, at least the first episode is very very interesting. But where this is going is so the name of the podcast is called Deep Dive, and I've already got 8 episodes already created and
Oh, wow, that's
uploaded. Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
That's not.
I do one a day, and again, all I got to do, or whoever does it, is just come up with subjects that they want this podcast to be, and just create links, shortcuts to these websites or the YouTube videos, and the AI, the platform does the rest. It is, and all I got to do is record the screen, edit it a little bit, and then just post it. It takes me about half an hour to do the whole thing.
And that's just a facet of what it can do, right?
That's
I mean,
right. That's just and
it's
that's just audio. Mine is only audio because I don't have time to play around with the
with
video
video,
yet.
right?
Not yet. Sometime, maybe.
You
But
know,
right now,
like anything else in this world, anything can be used for positive gain and productivity and
sure.
and human um
Hmm.
for the world good, right?
Yep.
But there's always going to be, it can also be manipulated for bad. It all depends on what your intentions are.
Right.
You know,
It's like
um,
anything. It's like
it's
anything.
like
Right.
anything else. It all
Yeah.
depends on what your intentions.
You can use a rifle to go hunting, or let's not even go there. You
Right.
know?
Let's not even go there. But it's one of those things where, as powerful a tool as it is, it can be
Yeah.
manipulated in such a way where it could either ruin a life, right? Because
Hmm.
you never know. And even there are situations where um, you kind of wonder whether it's real or whether it isn't. And a
Sure.
lot of AI plays a role in fake news stories,
Hmm.
in social media,
More
um,
than you
so
know.
more
More
than you
than you.
know.
I
Yeah.
watched this one about a month ago, maybe a little longer than that. I watched this interesting documentary, and it's called "The AI Dilemma," and it was by two young programmers that are deep into this whole thing. And when they both got it to a certain point of programming, and they realized that the dangers of all this, they stopped and they started advocating against AI. So they said, we have no, we're letting the genie out of the bottle, and we can still stop it, but there's no interest in stopping it because it's almost like a race to the bottom. That's how they put it.
Right.
Because there is a lot of money in it, and nobody's really thinking about the consequences of letting this genie out of the bottle. And so, like you said, this thing, if it ever becomes self-aware, or even if not, or if people control it, people themselves can manipulate other people or news or video or audio, and not necessarily for the good.
No, it's funny. In terms of creativity, people always look to Hollywood, right? Like
Yep.
screenwriters and authors of books and things like that, and then they take that book and they turn it into a screenplay. But it's like, these ideas, right, have been born for a very. Rod Serling was
Hmm.
covering part of this when he was still hosting the Twilight Zone, and that was what 40, 50, 60, I don't know, what, 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Those
something
things
like that.
came to be. Series like Star Trek were talking about AI, not exactly in those terms,
But still,
but in
it
terms of
applies.
what AI could do. There have been science fiction series along the way.
Sure. Isaac
Will Smith
Asimov
had great
started
movies.
writing these things 60 years ago.
Did you say Gene Roddenberry?
No, no, Isaac Asimov. And
Isaac
he
Asimov and Gene
and he
Roddenberry.
influenced Gene Roddenberry.
Roddenberry, right?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
for those people who don't know, Gene Roddenberry is the creator of Star Trek,
Yep.
and it's just and Isaac Asimov is just an amazing. What he's a physicist, correct?
Yep.
Yes, and so
I think so.
I think so,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. This has been going on. Will Smith had a movie on it a few years ago. Tom Cruise had a movie on it a few years ago. I don't know what the name of
Yep.
it was, where he was accused of a crime, right?
Yeah,
And that was the whole thing.
yeah, it was a fascinating concept where predicting a crime was also punishable by the law. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was odd, and there's always been there's always been some level
The
of story around
Minority List, I think it was called
minor,
Minority List.
the minority list,
I think.
and I think something like that. Look it up, Tom
Yeah.
Cruise,
Yeah,
minority
whatever.
something,
Yeah.
Minority Report,
There you go.
the
There you
Minority
go.
Report, right? And but it's not troubling yet, but ethically we got to worry about things like that, right? Like, where is this going? Oh, 2001 Space Odyssey, right, where AI became self-aware.
That's
That movie
right.
is from the 70s, and they kill the astronauts. Like, these ideas have been floating around forever, but the technology has actually caught up with the
It
ideas.
really has.
It
It
really has.
really has, man.
Yeah.
And it's been with us a lot longer than people think. I, the first time around when I started becoming aware of it was I think Apple has their little assistant called Siri, I think it is.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first time I became aware that AI was among us because Siri is a weak version, a watered down version of AI, and then Chat GPT came on and just changed everything.
Right.
And now you've got all of these others. Now you've got Galaxy. I use Galaxy. Um,
Gemini is also out
yeah,
there.
Gemini is by Galaxy and by Google, the whole thing.
By Google,
So
yeah.
I use Gemini. And sometimes I'll wander off and I'll use like Meta AI. Meta AI isn't too bad. That's Facebook's version.
Mm,
So now again, it's a race to the bottom, as these two gentlemen from that documentary called it, because it's just no matter what the dangers are, it's like a fly to the flame. It just you shouldn't do it, but there they go. And but
that's
anyway,
the problem, right? So anyway, but that's like that discussion. Depending on where it takes us, that discussion is a very, uh, that could turn into a very ethical discussion of what's right, what's wrong, what you could do with it, what you can't. You can
hmm
change lives. You can make them better. You can make them worse.
sure,
There's a whole lot that you can do with it. But like anything else, it all depends on what your intent is, right? Like with
exactly.
any technology, with anything, you can use it for good, or you can use it to
and
hurt.
and leave it to politicians and the military to pervert it into something deadly.
They're doing it now. Are you kidding? It's happening now. Are you
Yeah,
kidding? They're like,
yeah.
it's just I find myself, this world we're in is a little crazy right now. It's
Hmm.
it's a little nutty right now, but but every generation has always probably felt that way about the world in their
Yeah,
time. Right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
it's there's a lot of technology happening. There's a lot of unrest in the world. There's a lot of fake news stories. There's a lot of
yeah,
hostility. There's a lot of things you have to sift through, right? There's a
yeah.
lot of social media nonsense. There's a lot of I remind myself on this Memorial Day weekend, I'm saying, okay, it's great. I got 3 days off. And I finally found myself thinking, wow, like there's a reason why I have this day off. So I always like you know, when that pops in my head because I feel like I'm not like a complete asshole where I'm like, hey, not recognizing why the day is what it is, and because it's not just about barbecues, right? So even
Right.
though I am gonna have,
Yeah,
a little
me
barbecue because I'm
too.
not
Me
used
too. So,
but
gotta.
it's but that AI thing, I just went off on a tangent there. But that AI, man, it's just really.
And
Um,
no, you said something a second ago that it's more true than I think we both know, and I am following it. Is just you don't know what's real and not anymore. You don't know what's fake or not, and that includes AI. The In the documentary, one of the gentlemen explains how advanced AI is. And he goes on to explain that at the beginning, when he realized how dangerous this had gotten, was they challenged AI with the, what do they call it, the CAPTCHA, where you try to log on somewhere and the machine tries to determine whether the human is a
yeah,
machine or not, and it
yeah,
asks you,
it's
pick
an
out which of the
authentication.
motorcycles are, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like a two-step verification, right?
Exactly. So he was going on, he said that they challenged their version of the AI and they told it, you know, match this to that. And they gave it a captcha, and that's all they said. Just figure this out. And the machine or the AI instinctively said, out of the clear blue, it said, well, I am visually impaired. I can't see what's going on. It just made this up all by itself. So if you would disable that or ask me questions that I can verbally respond to, then that would help. And the guy who was initiating the captcha disabled the captcha and it asked it a question. And of course, it's going to have the answer. It's got all the information on the planet at its fingertips.
Mm.
So that gives you an idea of where AI is gone. It is programmed. I don't want to say it's smart because it's not. It's just a line of programs. It determined that the best course of action was to basically lie to this guy who was challenging it. And it actually got this person to jump through its hoop.
Which is a human trait, right? Lying, right? So when you
Exactly.
think about lying, it's not, how would a computer know to lie, right?
Yes.
So because it doesn't that is a human characteristic, lying.
Right. Right.
Computers are software and programming. They don't know how to lie,
Yeah.
or they can learn how to lie,
Right. Right.
and that's what actually that's where
But it
the
takes a
danger
human to program it to
to
lie.
program it how to lie,
Right.
and that's where we have to be really careful, right? When we're
Right.
programming it how to lie, when we're programming it how to be,
Yeah.
let's say, not aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
right? Depending on what is
Sure.
it that you're trying to program, right?
Sure.
Look, HAL 9000, pushed out, the two astronauts on Space Odyssey 2001. He got him killed outside, and that was a computer, and he killed them.
Yep.
So great movie, by the way. If everybody gets to see
Yeah. Yeah.
Space
So
Odyssey.
that's when this gentleman who was going on in the documentary, that's when he said he knew the dangers when the
Yeah,
machine just made up a story out of the clear blue and it actually worked. Whoever it was that was tasked to challenge that actually fell for it. And it's really mind-boggling that a computer or an AI would do that. But
that's crazy.
he's saying basically, that this is what it's capable of doing anything, and half the time we don't know it's happened. He made mention of another incident where at the early stages of creating the AI, and it was already public, and I forget which was the platform. Um, it was months and months and months already of deployment before somebody actually realized that people could ask it for, I don't want to say illegal, but dangerous stuff like how to create a chemical weapon, or made out of household products, and the AI would do it. Now they've got limits and boundaries. It won't now. It's most AIs won't respond to that question. But the point is, this thing was already deployed for months before somebody inadvertently asked it. It wasn't even part of the the plan.
Right.
And the
Right.
AI just came out and said, well, mix this at these temperatures, release it into the air, and hold your breath.
Next thing you know, voila! Ah,
Yeah.
one time trick for you. Watch this.
So yeah, it's wild.
Sorry about that,
Yeah, it
everyone. Yeah,
happens.
I'm fighting a cold. I'm fighting a cold here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
it's an
okay,
interesting
so
discussion about AI. But it's one of those things where I have yet to see um, it fully formed. Right. I don't think we're there yet
mhm.
in terms of like the ethical discussion about where it could take us. And
Yeah,
but no, we don't know. But if we let's not be naive as to the power of it. Right.
right,
Yeah.
right. And by the way, I don't think we'll ever see the full potential of AI because it keeps evolving. Like the
Correct.
AI that we have today is light years ahead of what it was, 2 years ago. And God
Like
knows
the
what's going to
answer.
happen in a year.
Yeah.
It's just, and all it takes, again, is just one programmer that maybe doesn't have the scruples that most do, and they may lower the filters or delete or remove the filters altogether to a particular AI. And this thing can be, I don't know, insidious for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Because all
That would be scary, right?
it's just a machine, it's just a computer doing exactly what people tell it to do.
The
Hence,
machines like you could shut down the electrical grid. You could shut down, you know, oh my God, you could shut down the banking system. You could
sorry
shut
about
down,
that.
if you want to get really, really
Oh,
crazy,
yeah.
you could shut down the traffic lights. You could make life very
Communication,
miserable.
communication, shut down
Communication,
communication, it's
you
over.
could shut that down.
Yep,
There's a lot of things. People. I know the movies have a tendency to overhype things in movies, but these things are real. They exist today.
yeah.
We people have the ability to do that.
Hmm.
There's cyber and cyber crime is a very real thing, and it's not
Yep,
just money they're chasing, right? You've got
right.
terrorists out there that are trying to access
Sure.
valuable information. You've got terrorists out there that are trying to shut down electrical grids and oil stations, and
Yeah,
and trying to invade the banking system to create chaos.
yeah,
It's just it's a constant battle,
yep,
right? As
yep.
AI continues to
Yeah,
progress.
evolve.
Right?
And
Yeah,
the thing of it is, it may get to the point where it may not be a person anymore doing it. I mean, right
correct.
now it's people behind a keyboard somewhere with a, I don't know whether it's a supercomputer, maybe it's some kid in Milwaukee in a basement with a laptop doing it. We don't know, right?
Like war games,
Yeah,
remember?
and you know what? But one day, the concern is that one day it won't just be a kid. The
Yeah.
concern is one day it really will be the AI that just decides, oh, why not? Let's just see what happens now.
I, I just keep thinking of all these movies that like where that was the topic, or it was kind of like the supporting topic of it. And it's like I just thought about it. War games.
Yes.
That's a perfect thing where the scenario was where the computers took over
Yep.
from the human beings and
Yep.
created a scenario where they were going to launch missiles,
Yep.
right? So it's like that stuff has existed. These ideas, my point is, these ideas have existed already forever.
Sure.
But the scary part is that
Now it's real.
now it's real and
Yeah.
it's really
Exactly.
possible, and a
Yeah.
lot of things can really happen.
Yeah.
And they're not just movie ideas anymore, you
Yeah.
know?
It's almost as if a lot of these programmers or scientists or whatever, it's almost as if they're using the movies as sort of like directions or a recipe
Right?
for,
Like a
you know,
framework. Right.
exactly. It's like
Right.
before somebody, I'm sure once, long time ago, thought it is incredible to believe, like Star Trek, where a little telecommunicator, a little handheld, whatever those things are, you can communicate with somebody across the world. Well, a couple of decades later, it's called a cell phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know,
the iPhone is only what, like not even 13, 14 years old.
something like that.
It's not
Yeah,
even 20 years old, the iPhone.
right. I know.
So it's like, it's amazing again how much technology has advanced, and that's going to be a great conversation for. Like, I want to see where it's going to be. My kids are 20 now, so
Hmm.
when they have kids, which is I hope not going to be anytime soon, I want to see, like, my kids grew up on the iPhone.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to see what my grandkids grow up with, right? They'll
Hmm.
probably have, they'll probably be pulling something out of midair. Because, they'll probably have a chip in their head where they're like,
Well, that's a thing now, by the way.
it is a thing. Yeah,
It's a
but
thing.
they do it with dogs and cats. They can
Yep.
track them. They
Yep.
put, chips are going to be in human beings too,
Yeah. Well, people are
so.
putting it in their hands. They're in an experimental phase. And how stupid can this people be? I mean, they're putting it in their palms of their hands or in the back of their hands, somewhere where there's light flesh, and it's emitting whatever information that whoever the programmer, the program, the chip is. So, for example, if people want to go pay for gas, all they got to do is put their hand up to the reader, or if they want to pay for a bill.
Okay with okay without that.
Yeah, that's just insane. But people are doing that today.
People, no, no, no. I'm going to
That
carry my water brother.
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
carry
I still like my American Express. Thank you
my.
very
So,
much. All right. Shit.
and
Anyway, changing the
uh,
subject real quick. You got
yeah,
time? So,
yeah, a couple of minutes, man. Let's
all
roll.
right.
Couple.
Speaking of old farts, you and me, right? Manny Pacquiao apparently is coming back. He's making a comeback fight in July, and
Wow.
he is apparently it's pretty close to a signing, but he is going to be fighting Barrios. Somebody Barrios. He's a Mexican American middleweight champion, I believe it is. So I believe that fight is going to happen. And Manny Pacquiao currently is 46 years old. I know
That's
he
not. I
ran.
mean, that's not old for fighters.
Well, for
Become
a boxer it
older.
is.
Yeah, for
For
a
a
boxer.
boxer it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a
To
boxer.
us, he's a young man, but to a boxer, that's old.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's making a comeback, and I guess the political fights in the Philippines wasn't challenging enough for him. So here he comes again.
You know, these old fighters coming back, man. It's like it's like athletes. They're all athletes, right? So they were
Yeah,
amazing athletes in their time. Because
sure.
Manny Pacquiao, anybody who knows boxing knows that Manny Pacquiao was a great fighter,
Yeah,
and um, yeah, I think he has multiple championships, and
yeah. He's been
and
through 8 weight classifications.
8 weight classes. Look at that, and he's won several championships. And these amazing fighters, it's just like any athlete. Like when it's just hard to let go.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to let go.
Nobody
Old
wants to.
age. They don't want to admit that they're getting old. Is what it is.
Nobody wants to admit I'm getting. I admit it all the time now. I'm getting my senior discount, bro. It's like, what? I start taking advantage of that now. The only
Yeah,
thing I haven't done yet is do the early bird special. I'm not there yet,
yeah.
but
That's coming.
it's coming. The AARP card came in the mail. It's in my wallet now. I used to throw that out.
Yeah,
So it's like stupid things like that. But these fighters, I look like anything else, man. You're 46 years old. I hope you don't get your clock cleaned
yeah,
and anything happens to you. And
yeah, man. Wish him the best of luck. But boy, 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 but I didn't expect
hopefully,
that. But
hopefully
here he
it's not as
comes.
bad as a Tyson fight, because that Tyson fight against what's that kid's name again? Uh,
Already, I forget.
the social
Jake
media
Paul? Was it Jake
Jake Paul.
Paul? Yeah,
Yeah, that was just a disaster, man. It was
yeah,
just truly. It's like Mike Tyson. For anybody who ever saw Mike Tyson in his prime, oh my lord, that's it. Yeah, well,
Picture a
he was
wrecking ball.
just a wrecking ball, and to see him, I saw things in that fight. Where like, you're 60 something years old. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, why
Yeah.
are you fighting here, man? Like,
Hmm.
you really need the money that bad? Uh,
Uh,
It's
well,
sad for heroes. I remember him being this unbeatable figure. Like when your heroes like just don't let go and they just keep coming
they
back,
fading away right before your
fading away
eyes.
right before your eyes.
Yeah.
See that? You don't want to
I
see
know
that.
it. Nobody wants to see that. I think the worst example of it for me, and even though I didn't really watch him in his prime, watching Elvis in his
Oh,
later stages when he was
uh,
bloated, after
all the
watching,
drugs had taken
oh my
taken a eye
God,
off his voice. That
you
just
just talk about heartbreaking to see him in that condition, although he could still sing his butt off. But yeah, it was just so you don't, yeah, our heroes hanging on and just kind of fading away. It's heartbreaking. It really
it
is.
is.
And hopefully Manny will come out of this. Hopefully he'll put a beat down on the dude. Nothing against the guy, but I just don't want to see a hero of mine get beat down that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
And but we'll see come July.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah,
But
man.
anyway, brother, it's been nice talking to you.
Right
I'm
back
gonna
at
go
you.
back to my mess. I'm gonna go back to my mess, everyone.
Moving.
Yes, what's happening here is that, as I said at the beginning of the show, I'm moving, so it is a disaster in this place, and I wanted to take, like, I was feeling a little overwhelmed, right? So I said,
Yeah.
let me text my friend, let me blow off some steam, get on a podcast for a little while, get distracted, and this helped immensely. So I'm going to go back to my craziness before my
Right.
girlfriend comes back with groceries and kicks my ass for not doing anything while she was gone. All right, my friend.
Oh,
We'll talk later.
yeah, man. Good seeing you again. Have a good one. And maybe if we've got some time next week, we can break off another one.
Sounds like a plan, brother.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
I'll talk to you later.